Hey guys, it's Memorial Day weekend, and I have a little time to just sit down and talk and tell you what's been going on over here and a little more about what I'm finding. And I took my other video out where I raised hell about the other shows being ridiculous. My main objective was to communicate that to them and put them on notice that they're being ridiculous, and then I'm gonna start calling them on it until they change, because they're basically calling people to arms against the bigs, and that was the main intention behind that video. All right, so I'll drop that. The next thing, I've been going to a spot, has forest right and abuts a parking lot. And on this parking lot, there are these LED lights. Now, if you know anything about LED lights, they operate on an RF frequency. And it's neat little technology they kept from us. And then they package it in an LED light and make you buy their bulbs instead of just using RF uh, amplifiers or whatever the heck you'd call them, transformers, to do the same thing with just a regular bulb, but that's a whole nother topic. My field is energy, so I know a little bit about this stuff. Anyway, this parking lot abuts to this forest area. So I've been noticing that when the bigs come in, and I hear them, they make themselves very known with the giant steps and breaking branches. And last night one of them just basically dropped a ton of water off this tree that it had been raining, and he brushed up against it, and the water just came down, and they just do all that stuff. You could hear him, when my wife comes up, you could definitely hear him come in closer. It's kind of funny. It's like, the hell with you. Let's look at the pretty girl. But anyway, when they come to a certain spot that's by that light, I've noticed that this light just gets super bright, super bright. So that tells me they indeed are, they're vibrating, obviously. And I already knew this. I already knew this in multiple ways that I haven't released, because I don't want people to claim that they discovered it and then try to say they did everything I did and claim to be the heroes, because that's what seems to happen in this field. So I'm just going to keep it to myself. And anyway, I'll let people just hear the information, but I'm not going to tell them how I got a lot of this stuff. This I will tell you, it's very interesting. So that light gets really bright, and then it'll dim down as they move away from it. It's very interesting. So anyway, that was that. I want to talk to you about this guy's channel that I have up here, Fantastic Daily. If you're familiar with his channel, a lot of his videos that they're tying to these other dimensions, and they're trying to say they're tapping into these other dimensions. And in one case, one picture, he's got an arm coming out of midair, and it looks, if it's legit, it looks pretty wild, and maybe so, but most of them are like Bigfoot. This guy here writes in and says he was in the woods hunting, and in one spot he started to look through this area, and it was really blurry, and he thought his eyes were getting blurry. And then, he was like wondering what's going on with his eyes, and then he looked away over to another area, and it was crystal clear, and then he realized that one area was blurry. And he videotaped this, and this is exactly what I was telling you about that day. It's actually really fascinating. This guy got this. Anyway,
I'm out there a couple hours, and the whole time I have this sense of being followed. At first I thought I was being paranoid due to lack of license, but I started to hear things too. This sounds weird, but I kept hearing steam escaping. I would hear it behind me and in front of me.
Sounds like one of those guys is just, if you've ever heard him exhale or like that. My son heard it one day when he was out with me, and he freaked. It sounds just like a mad bull, releasing air. But that's probably what he's describing.
Had a very mechanical sound. After a while, I just planted my feet and tried to scope out the area. About 20 or so minutes of me just staying still, and I start to sense movement in the grove up ahead. I kept concentrating on the grove, and I could tell that my vision was getting screwy. I was having a hard time focusing, or at least I thought I was until I looked away from the grove and my vision was perfect. I realized I was seeing some kind of mirage, that's the only way I can explain it, in the grove ahead of me. I took out my phone, I got a couple of seconds of it before it stopped. I've never had an experience like that before, and I can't explain what I recorded. Can you? Alright, so here's the video.
I can. See that? See if I can blow this up any. Anyway, so he kind of moves over a little bit, and you can't see it so well. I'm sure you get my point, sorry. See that? Ah, he moved away. There it is. Anyways, it's kind of hard to see in that shot, but basically he got that same thing that I've seen only from a few feet away. And, you know, with my dog attesting to it, and this is 2 times over now that it's happened, you know, where the dog has accompanied me. It's happened other times where the dog hasn't been around. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. This here
And that's one of the reasons
was
that
interesting. He gets this figure again. You know,
exists.
I think it was Tom Powell got something like this on his camera, the shadow figure.
As much as I can about.
And this goes to the point where, you know, I've seen them where they run across the road, and you can, as they're moving, you can almost see something, but something, you know, it's translucent but moving, and so you can kind of see like a shadowy type effect, and that's what you're seeing here that was captured, I think.
Things that creep me out.
And it walks. I did some pretty deep down analysis on that shot. The steps he's taken even look like a Bigfoot. But anyway. And then, if you've ever heard of the Black-Eyed Kids, just Google it or, you know, look it up on YouTube. He claims to have gotten a Black-Eyed Kid on here. Again, it's a Bigfoot eye shine. And he gets him talking out there as well. So he thinks he's tapped into this other dimension, and, you know, and on top of that, he's got these glowing eyes. But it's a Bigfoot. He just apparently doesn't know too much about Bigfoot. He gets ICU.
Now that sounds like a child whispering to me.
Bigfoot's eyes
keep in
right
mind,
here.
this happened during the same general time frame that he captured this picture. So I was crazy excited about finding this piece of audio. So I let my partner take a listen, and this is what he had to say today.
Have you ever seen, you know, the Big's eyes? I've seen the eyes where you could just see the eyes. You can't see the body. So anyway, and I had Pat Rance and Adam right next to me when we were watching that. Three sets of eyes, not one. So anyway, so I've seen that many times over, the glowing eyes, but at close range we saw 3 sets of eyes and took turns watching them. It was pretty amazing. All right, so that's all I've got for you. I found that interesting. I found that whole parking lot thing interesting. And anyway, this gentleman, fantastic daily guy, you should probably watch this video because a lot of stuff he's claiming is really, you know, tied to the Bigs.